Welcome to You Got to Laugh to Keep from Crying. My name is O.W. Sweeney. I'm here with my brother and my crazy co-host and an old friend. I guess it's close to 50 years, my brother. And how you feeling?
Jesus, we're getting older by the decade.
I
It seems
always
like
consider that a blessing. You know how I am on
yeah,
the subject.
yeah. You're good on
And I
it.
know your views on it.
Yeah.
And while we're giving credits to people that deserve it, let's talk about the North Carolina Triad Jobs with Justice. Where you can reach us at by telephone 336-272-2758. And we got an email.
Yes, we do. NC Triad Jobs with Justice at gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
There's quite a few things that's very important that's been going on with the news lately, but we're going to come up with something that's kind of strange, which I call it one of the greatest bully tactics in the world today.
Right.
And that's the attack that the United States is pulling down on Venezuela.
Yeah, the U.S. government. Yeah, and we've our group of four has agreed that we're going to put up on this show the protest sign saying Hegseth, Trump, hands off Venezuela. And if we wanted to add more words, we could add the three-letter word that's at the base of this whole thing, OIL. Hands off Venezuela, oil.
That same weapon of mass destruction that got Iraq tore apart.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's down in Venezuela.
Yeah. That's a wise way of putting it, because it's like beauty in women, let's say in the United States or in other countries. A lot of times, the more beautiful a woman, the more difficult a life she had because of the abuse that she suffered. And oil-rich countries, they've been harassed, occupied, pillaged, and even the poorest people in the world just about live in the Congo in Africa, and their country is about the richest country in mineral wealth in the world, and yet because of imperialism and imperialist plunder of the Congo, certainly at least beginning with Belgium and the Belgian king, when it was when you and I were in the school, the country was called the Belgian Congo, and but so this is but when we look at what Hegseth and Trump are doing, these war crimes they're committing every time that they drop a bomb on fishermen in these little boats, and they're selling to us the idea that they're doing something about the drug trade. And then Trump went ahead and pardoned the former president of Honduras, who had been convicted. And as you corrected me on in our last show, he got a 45-year sentence because he was actually responsible for a tremendous amount of cocaine being trafficked right into the United States to our people. And Trump, who supposedly is bombing these Venezuelan
boats,
fishermen off the coast of Venezuela, and supposedly in the name of protecting us from cocaine smugglers and all of this, is that first boat on September 2nd that they bombed out of the water. They know already, it's been exposed, that those boats weren't even going to be going anywhere near the United States. There was either Europe and or Africa that that's what they've come up with so far in all those lies. And yet Trump gave a full pardon to this global drug dealer who was the head of the Honduran government. So we know that that the whole thing is just a
sham.
And but it's there to cover the effort to get that oil away from the people of Venezuela.
So the only thing they're doing is sprinkling sugar on it to make it taste like something.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is causing terror to the American citizens of the United States of America.
And
because
right,
I fully expect
yeah.
I fully expect that some of those Venezuelan people is going to be coming across that southern border with bombs and start bombing places in the United States, because Vietnam shows very strongly that the only way you can beat a bully is through guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. Well, teach, brother.
Therefore, when the World Trade Center got bombed, it was because they didn't like our way of life. But they wasn't over here trying to change our way of life.
Right.
We's over there trying to change their way of life.
Right.
And they didn't like it.
Right.
So they came to the giant and tried to knock him down on his knees.
Yeah. Even though
and then all of a sudden, the reason they did it is because they don't like your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But they wasn't over here trying to change our lifestyle.
Right.
We over there trying to change their lifestyle, and we listen to this rhetoric that they're giving. And somebody said that politicians don't do nothing but lie. So when they talk, you got to understand. As they say, sometimes you got to read between them lines. What is the real problem there?
Right.
Now, and like I said, Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction was oil. Now, down in Venezuela, what is their mass destruction? What did they do?
Right. They also have one of the most oil-rich countries in the world, and Trump, in particular, as the kleptomaniac that he is, can't keep his hands off anything of any wealth of the peoples of the world.
Well, that's what capitalism. That's what capitalists do, don't they?
Yes, it is. And when, especially in the monopoly capitalist and imperialist stage of capitalism. But when Sandra and I, my beloved wife, were leading pretty small demonstrations downtown at the courthouse every Monday for over 11 years.
Yes.
And we were leading protests against the imperialist wars that were being led by George W. Bush and then Barack Obama.
Into Barack Obama.
Right.
Yeah.
And during that period, as I was saying to you earlier, we had mostly people honking for peace that came by. You know, usually it was like when people were getting off work, and in the afternoon, downtown coming through, and you know we probably had 40 honks for peace. You know, I'll say on average, and maybe one or two people yelling out negative things to those of us that were picketing. And the negative things they were yelling out, OW, in line with what you and I have just been talking about, was, it's our oil. These are U.S. people saying that the oil of the Middle East, because it was the Iraq War period and all,
Yeah.
but this is how ignorant.
And some of these people in the United States of America are. They don't realize.
And geography is something that they deliberately don't teach very much for us, because they want us to just follow their imperialist lead.
Say.
The government, imperialist government's lead into every war folly.
And the strangest thing about it is when they send them out there, who they sending out there? They're working stiff.
Right.
Children.
Yeah.
The ones who don't have nothing.
Right.
They don't care anything
and
about
who
them.
And whose stake is in really being friends with the very people that they're being sent to kill and occupy.
Which they have more in common.
Exactly.
with the
That's right.
people that we're on out there attacking.
Right.
And
So
they don't understand that because they've been so brainwashed. I mean, like one of the greatest brainwashing that I've seen of this era is the collapse of 2008, when they want to contribute it to everything except for capitalism. That collapse was due to taking work from the United States and putting it in the China hand, which put our workers out of work. Which people don't seem to understand or try to coordinate the fact that they did this here because the capitalist was making more money by having materials made over there than having it made here in the United States.
Right.
Now, some people are saying, let's make it in the United States, including Trump, who profit from having stuff made over there.
Right.
Now he's saying, let's bring it back over here.
Right.
After they done destroyed part of the economy of the United States of America.
Right.
And people don't seem to want to understand that now that they're trying to correct it, they're not telling you
they're not
how
trying to
it
correct.
happened.
They're not trying. The only correction I'm going to make on what you said is that there's nothing about Trump that wants to correct anything. All he wants to do is get his greedy hands on that much more money and power. So, I just have to.
I understand, my brother, and I agree
he may
with
call it. He may call it trying to correct it. Yeah. In the
now
name of
you
that.
begin to understand the story that they're telling. You got to read between them lines, and you have to understand what they're talking about is not what they're doing.
Right. And the big point I think that we want to have our viewers take from today's show is to warn and try to rally them, whether it's to our friends now in indivisible Guilford County and indivisible around the world, USA and around the world. Those are some of our best friends right now in this country. And we need to focus a lot on opposing the Hegseth Trump government forces that are bombing,
a war
that are waging.
We just consider that a war on the citizens of the United States of America.
Well, it's a war on the citizens of Venezuela.
Yeah, but it's also a war on the citizens here in the United States.
It is indeed.
And we have to understand that even though they're talking about warring over in Venezuela, but the warring is going on right here.
Oh, sure.
And we need to understand that those people in Venezuela got more in common with us.
And we
we
also
those
have
capitalists.
Absolutely. And in fact, the richer the capitalists get, the more powerful they are, not only in relation to Venezuela, but in relation to the workers in the United States.
Yes.
That's how that's how, look at the billionaires absolutely own the Supreme Court. Where did we get to that point where it's that naked? That naked a power in the Supreme Court,
which is supposed to be an independent,
separate power
branch of the
government. Yeah.
But I guess it depends on which end of that dollar you're on.
Exactly.
See, if you're on the part where you got the dollar, then you're all right. If you're on the part that you ain't got that dollar, you're in trouble.
Right.
And you have to understand that. So, like I said, and I'm going to repeat this here, don't be surprised if you be hearing people sneaking across the border and bombing here in the United States of America from Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And I want to know what they're going to say, what caused that. Because they wasn't doing none of that. They were trying to get citizenship over here. They may be kidding over to try to get some of what they call the good life over here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's been a classic feature of capitalism in its last dying stage of imperialism for the last 100 years or so, more even. The people from the nations oppressed by the imperialist powers, those people have to end up because their countries are so squeezed
Yes.
by the imperialists that they can no longer survive in their own countries and have to have some of their families
have to flee somewhere.
Right.
So where you go? You go
go
where
to
the
the mother
money it is.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. But anyway, you know, the thing that bothers, well, one of the things that bothers me about the Democratic Party, you know, and I want to point out that the victories for the Democratic Party in the November 4th elections and other elections that have been held this year over Trump and the Republican Party have not been due to any big value that the Democrats have had. It's much more due to groups like Indivisible. Wait a second, Indivisible, Guilford County, and the United States and the world. No kings. You know, the whole demand around no kings. That brought people into the streets. Our people, to their credit, into the streets.
The working class people.
Working class of people, and that is what provided the backbone for these Democratic Party politicians. I mean, Mamdani did a hell of a lot of organizing in New York and deserves a lot of credit. And that movement around him deserves an awful lot of credit for that. But some of the more regular Democrats that got elected in other places, they were just getting the benefit of what Indivisible and the other mass organizations.
Speaking the truth to try to
speaking truth to power.
That's right. Yeah. To have you understand that some of these politicians you'd be better off without.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And, I think
especially Trump.
One of them at top.
Right. Exactly.
Have done more for the Democratic Party than anybody, and that's Trump.
Because he told so many lies. King.
Yeah, he done told so many lies and did so many things to cause misery to people.
Right.
Like it kills them when they get on there talking about, well, things are getting better. Prices are going down. Gasoline is down. Yes, gasoline prices is down. Yeah. But anybody tell me how them egg prices went down?
Yeah. Right.
Had them grocery prices went down.
Mm-hmm.
That he promised that would happen on day one.
Right. Right.
Only thing I can conclude from there, day one haven't got here yet.
Yeah.
And it never will.
Well,
because I can't seem to understand that in a capitalistic country, once these people get that money, they're going to change the prices to make it lower, unless it's going to benefit them.
That's obviously true. Just like they, including Trump, who rule, want to lead us into whatever war they need in order to make them
more money,
more money, and more powerful. And you know, the problem. So as occurred last night, when the show that the TV news show that I think Sandra and I like the best these days is the one that includes Michael Steele, the former black Republican.
Well, he's still a Republican.
He's still black. But he was the former Republican National Committee chairman.
Yes.
Imagine that this white supremacist regime that Trump represents, called the Republican regime, that not that many years ago, because Michael Steele still doesn't look that old now. No. He was the chairman of the Republican Party, and led them to some victories.
Oh yes.
At the time, but so he's on that show with Sister Hernandez, Alicia, and Simone Sanders. So the three of them are probably, we think, the best, the most solid. But when they had on last night, Senator Gallego of Arizona, a Democrat, who warned in the most powerful terms that what's going on in Washington right now, the most important thing going on, is Trump and Hegseth driving this country to make these bombing, these constant bombing. Now I think it's up to around 20, and almost 100 of these fishermen have been killed now by us. You know,
because
really,
because
they're driving.
The president
us
of Venezuela don't want to do what Trump want him to do.
Right.
But neither do Xi of China. That's his name. Xi.
Yeah.
Xi.
Yeah.
He ain't bombing them.
Right.
Neither is Putin. He ain't bombing Putin.
Right.
So the only thing I see them doing is being a bully because they can beat up on
an oil-rich Venezuela.
Yeah,
that's what they're striving to do.
So they can beat up on them because they ain't got nothing to fight back. So this make me understand why Iran want to go out there and get that nuclear weapon.
Right.
Because so they can stand up to the United States. You start some trouble, I got something for you. That make me understand why. What's the one in North Korea? I can't think of it right now.
But anyway, even
what I'm saying, it just shows you why those people are so eager to get their hands on that nuclear weapon, so they won't be bullied by the United States or China or Russia.
Right. And but even before this, Gaddafi in Libya, in North Africa, their economy provided decent living wages for black Africans from southern Africa in Libya.
Who mind you that Gaddafi wanted to pull those countries together, which one of the main reasons why they killed him.
Right. But yeah, exactly. And
they can't, in nowhere in the world can they allow those countries in Africa to pull together and become one, because it's just too much natural minerals over there for them folks to have, as far as the capitalists is concerned.
Right. And but Gaddafi, if I remember correctly, he ended up giving up the aspiration to nuclear weapons, and you saw that Saddam Hussein had done that, and it's like you said about these other places, people and countries especially want to be able to defend themselves against these shameless murderers that are running countries like the United States.
Yeah.
So
let me try to change the subject here, because
we're almost
do want to
get
we did want to get in a little bit about the Epstein file, and this Friday is supposed to become due, and the Democrats seem to be fanning a bunch of flames about things they gonna do or they gonna make them do to release the Epstein file.
Well, they now have the law. The Democrats, with key help from Republicans in the Congress, a few gutsy Republicans in Congress, even including Marjorie Taylor Greene, they now have the law on their side. And Trump was forced, in order to not expose himself entirely as a protector of the sexual predators and the victimizer of these young women and girls that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were leading that sex ring on, that Trump ended up having to make it appear as if he was now in favor of releasing the stuff, which resulted in the Senate unanimously passing the bill that the House overwhelmingly passed.
Because so many of those Republicans in the House stood up for the women's rights. So
exactly.
many of them.
That's right, and that Trump had to.
He had to.
And let's mention Speaker of the House Johnson, who was so close to Trump that it's hard to separate.
Speaker of the House Johnson or Speaker of the House Trump?
Okay, but at any rate, the other point I wanted to make is that after Gallego the Senator Gallego of Arizona gave us the word on that MS Now show about the danger of Trump absolutely provoking the Maduro government in Venezuela to get into a war with the U.S. so that the U.S. could get that oil. Not the U.S., because the U.S. is us, but the U.S. ruling class, which is
the capitalists.
And especially the heavy influence of the oil, of the big oil companies. That when the Democratic National Committee chairperson, Martin, I believe, well, he was the next guest on that show with Michael Steele and Hernandez, Alicia, and Simone Sanders. And not even they, as much as Sandra and I like them better than most of the other talking heads, even they did not put a demand on that Democratic Party chairman, who was on the very next, to help to organize the Democrats in Congress on exposing and the war this danger of the imminent war to the people of the country as a whole, which Gallego was doing, Senator Gallego was doing just before that on the show. So none of them put that challenge to the Democratic Party chairman, and that's the shame and that's the weakness. So,
Yes.
So it means that, as you and I understand, our listeners, our viewers need to understand as well. In our unity lies our strength.